Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Press Start to Play, and I'm your host Hayush. Like always, I'm joined by Manas and Sushir, and today we have great episode all lined up for you. We're going to be talking about the latest acquisition that Microsoft did, which is Bethesda, and we have lots of jokes coming up for that. At least I do. I don't know about Manas and Sushir. Uh, we are also going to be talking about the Mafia Definitive Edition that Manas has been playing for a while. So we're going to get his thoughts on it, and then we're going to have a simple round of 20 questions, right?
Yep.
Uh, so with that in mind, let's start. Manas, Microsoft just bought Bethesda.
Yeah,
So
man.
tell us the scoop on that. What's up?
Microsoft decided one day to go shopping and then bought up Zenimax Media, like the parent company of Bethesda. So, matlab Bethesda and like all the
Mhm.
studios with Bethesda, like Arcane, uh, Jo Prey, Dishonored, those guys, and then Machine Games, Wolfenstein, and another big one,
Mhm.
Doom. Id
Id
Software.
Evil
Software.
Within,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Doom and Halo are in the
id
same
Software. Mhm.
umbrella now.
So so yeah, let's from the top of my head: Doom, Rage, Prey, Dishonored, Evil Within, Wolfenstein, um, the Elder Scrolls,
Yep.
uh,
Fallout
Fallout.
or
What else? That Star, whatever they were going to
Starfield.
launch.
Yeah, Starfield jo aa raha hai.
Starfield.
Yeah. Plus all of it,
That's a
like
lot of games, man.
all of these games coming to Game Pass on day one. At least Bethesda के games अभी Deathloop and जो दो games थे जो Sony PS5 launch exclusives
Exclusive,
थे. एक Deathloop है. What's the
Mhm.
other one?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire
Okay.
Tokyo.
So they are still
Yeah.
honoring that कि those will still be like क्या बोलते हैं launch exclusive to the PS5. But going forward, like the exclusivity will be on a per game basis. जहां तक
Mhm.
मुझे लग रहा है लाइक एक तो इट्स लाइक अ डैम कूल मूव मैन लाइक गेटिंग बेथेस्डा आई मीन दिस इज लाइक द बिगेस्ट एक्विजिशन इन इयर्स लाइक चाहे तुम जिस भी कंपनी को ले लो लाइक बेथेस्डा
Right.
somebody like Bethesda and the good thing is I'm very happy to see कि चल एटलीस्ट ऐसा नहीं है कि it is just Elder Scrolls या just Fallout like those who don't care about that can like ignore this even though a lot of people care about Elder Scrolls but all these other games with it especially Doom Dishonored and all so I mean they have a powerful first party studio lineup now like out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think let's I just want to like talk about it in the chronological sequence so we can go through it, right? So first of all, like just financially, it's one of the biggest acquisition that the video game industry has seen, right?
Okay.
Uh, like I think they spent like some $73 million. Let me pull up the actual
7.5
deal.
billion 7.5 billion था so 7 billion
Yeah,
that's a lot.
7.5 billion. Yeah, $7.5 billion, and the acquisition is for Zenimax, basically,
Yeah.
like Manas said, and which is the parent company for, for studios like id Software, Arcane Studios, and Bethesda. And Bethesda has been a publishing company for id Software and
Yeah.
Arcane mostly, right? Which have been given the responsibility of producing games, basically, of
Hmm.
actually developing games, and then Bethesda takes up the publishing, and Zenimax is like the head company of all of this. So that's the hierarchy there.
Yeah.
And Microsoft has basically bought all of this, and basically what they've done is from what I've heard, is that they're going to let them work or function like they already were. They're not going to change that like hierarchy. So Zenimax is still going to be the head, and then there's publishers will still Bethesda is still going to self-publish, and Arcane and it are still going to develop games. So that's like the formal aspect of it, the rules of on which it has been
Yeah.
defined, right? And like we just said at the top of the show, they also got in huge amounts of games, IPs along with it,
Yeah.
right? So and like with all the IPs coming in, as Manas very smartly pointed out, there were two IPs which were actually PS5 exclusive and were made by studios which have now been bought by Microsoft,
Yeah.
right? So and those are Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, right? Uh, and you pointed out that that exclusivity is going to be maintained. So they're still going to come out exclusively on the PS5. They were timed exclusives anyway, right?
Timed.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
an
Yes.
year or so.
Yeah. Launch exclusives I think या 6 months और a year. I think वो time कितना था वो confirmed नहीं है. But either ways, yeah, assuming it's 6 months or a year. तो काफी लंबा है
Right.
वैसे हाँ.
Right. Yeah. No, it
To
is a bit
get the
time.
yeah.
नहीं Sushir, you was
Go on, Sushir. You wanted to say?
Oh yeah, to get the jokes right out of the gate, Todd Howard has finally found out a way to sell you Skyrim on every month. He'll sell you
The
Skyrim every month now for $15, and you will buy it. You'll keep buying it.
Just
Game
keep
Pass.
buying it. I was just going to say that like after selling Skyrim on every console possible, Todd has now sold Skyrim to Microsoft. Like he sold it again, guys. Like he's got you have to be that kind of a person. I just like I want to imagine Todd Howard and Phil Spencer on the stage together. Like Todd is bullshitting out of his mouth,
Yeah.
right? Like completely. Like we're
Sweet
going to do
little
this,
lies.
and Phil is like, no, none of this. No, Todd, calm down.
16 times the detail. अरे उतना तो हमारा console capable नहीं है साले, क्या बोल रहा है तू?
Infinite
Phil is going
quests.
like that. Yeah. You seen that Pakistani uncle meme? Like that guy just standing there like this. Phil is going like, what the hell is this?
अरे actually this was one of my first thoughts when I heard about the acquisition ना. मेरा पहला तो था finally thank God like Phil at least given the direction that Microsoft is going, which Xbox is going, which basically I think Phil Spencer is heading that direction of being consumer friendly and thoda upfront and transparent. Like at least Todd Howard won't get to like shill the games like he used to. Or at least if he's doing it, तो वो games they'll be capable of delivering that game. Like it's a good thing either ways.
I think it's a like you have to see like the evolution of the games that they were also making, right? Like the two biggest things that Bethesda has focused on in the next future is like Elder Scrolls Online and
Yeah.
Fallout 76, right? Like these were the two latest, their biggest outings, and they are both like subscription based or always online games, right?
Oh yeah.
And to line them up with Microsoft Studios and the Xbox Game Pass, and like to use all that infrastructure that Microsoft will be providing, just like it is doing for other games. You know, that bug game that Sushir is crazy about. So I think that also kind of aligns with that ideology or like principles moving forward. So I think that's also a big reason as to why they are going in that direction.
Yeah, so the fun fact over here that I like to point out to everybody over here is that we are not going to see this like console war that all the fanboys start shouting about and screaming about and fighting about. This is not a war of consoles anymore. I feel is that Microsoft is on a different path altogether. It's a path on services, on selling you gaming services, and Xbox Game Pass is the forefront of that. Like just like they are selling you Microsoft Office 365, on the OS front, they're going to sell this Game Pass for like games, and it makes economic sense. I mean, look at the Sony games that are coming out, right? And I have a PlayStation 4, right? But I can understand that going forward, buying a $70 game would be difficult for people. Because most of the big games that are going to come out, they're going to be $70. Whereas the big shots of whatever will come out from Microsoft Game Studios, Xbox Game Studios is going to be available to people for a measly $10, and in India even cheaper. So I can't imagine like how that isn't a big service for everyone. Like that Game Pass, like I think it will be 15 million right now. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be way bigger than that.
Yeah. नहीं, but I also think कि जो आयुष ने last week बोला था ना
So
कि
I have
like,
a question.
even if like you have hundreds of games, but maybe you want to play like that one game that's not there. So I think वो situation अभी भी आ सकता है, but now at least the argument for Game Pass is more compelling with the big games. ना like
right.
और ये भी आयुष का good point कि Fallout 76 and like these are subscription based games, and also Microsoft has kind of been leaning in that way with Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, Halo Infinite also looks like something जो वैसा ही कुछ होगा. So I think this makes now looking at that, I think the like buying it not just for the future games coming जैसे Starfield या कुछ, but for the games that are already there, उसके लिए भी it makes sense this. buyout. Maybe they can even add the value. Like, I mean, of course, मुझे ऐसा लगता है यार Fallout 76 gets shat on a lot, but there is something at the core of it that is not bad. It is just a buggy mess, but the world and जो weapons का feel है ना, that is actually like I played it like एक बारी PS4 पे खेला, then PC पे भी मैंने खेला because I'm trying to because I could see past it. जो एंथम में आई कुडंट लाइक एंथम का मुझे लगा था कोर इज मेस्ड लाइक दैट्स व्हाई एंथम का 2.0 बन रहा है एंड फॉलआउट 76 का नहीं बन रहा है क्योंकि एट इट्स कोर देयर इज समथिंग गुड देयर.
I have not played Fallout 76, obviously. Like not obviously, but I've not tried it because I'm not into that franchise. Like when
Okay.
Fallout 76 came out, I had nothing to attach myself to that franchise. I never
Not
played
4,
the original Fallout 2,
3,
right?
4.
I've not played any of the Fallout games actually.
Oh, okay.
Like that's one of the big blank spaces in my video gaming education.
Okay.
Not played Fallout. But I think that's the direction that Microsoft wants to take, and I think like that's the kind of game Bethesda also wants to make. Like for example, uh, the newest expansion from ESO is $40, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
for someone who has been playing the Elder Scrolls Online from day one, let's say he's joined day one, he's already spent around $200 on that game,
Yeah.
which is crazy when you think about it. Like for every expansion, it's $40 more. So
Right.
if it comes into the Game Pass picture and it becomes like you just pay $15 per month, but every time a new expansion comes from ESO, it's free for you, right? So that kind of makes a lot of sense. Now, if you look at like just Mana said, like Halo Infinite, then you have the ESO, and then you have Fallout 76, and then you have the Sea of Thieves. Okay, so these are four subscription-based games or like live service games. So if
Right.
all four of them have an update every 6 months, but it's not in the same month as the other games or like just 2 months apart. So and they would have normally been $40. Now it's spread out across 6 months. You've got content to play in each of these games every month, new content to play in each of these games every month. And you keep on, because I think that's how the video gaming world has evolved. And we talked about this like in the earlier episodes of podcast when we were covering the Division 2 update. Like people go back to check out the new content, they play it, finish it up, and then they basically move back out of that game. That's how these live game services are now working. At least that's the idea I get. Whenever I go into the new expansion pack of Destiny 2, there are a lot of people, but in like 10 days, when they've all got the rewards, there it's empty again.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Microsoft has also picked up on, and that's why they're trying to basically create like 6 games which have an update coming out every 6 months. So you have new content to play every 6 months on the same game, and you are paying only one place to play it. uh, so that way that Game Pass thing kind of ties it around. So like that's what I thought when I looked at the strategy and looked at the games that Bethesda is making and the kind of games that Microsoft is making, right? And so what do you guys think about it, Manas,
Um,
Sushir?
I also think कि this shows like a lot of faith from the Microsoft like higher ups in what I think Phil Spencer is doing and Xbox, the direction they're taking. Like, yeah, $7 billion, nobody spends it randomly, and this is like this is at least like $7 billion वाला investment is looking at it at least like 5 to 10 years का future में क्या plan होगा वो सोच के इतना खर्चा होगा. They must have a plan. Plus the only thing was like will the games be exclusive या कुछ है ना, like will like what if Starfield, मुझे लग रहा है, I mean given how honestly बोलो Sony has kind of been rubbing their exclusives in everybody's faces in a good way. They have it, like उनके पास फाड़ू exclusives है, but मुझे ऐसा लगता है especially seeing, मुझे Microsoft के लिए बुरा लगता था when they were tweeting out hey all the best for the pre-order launch and all of that. Sony कुछ नहीं बोलता था वापस, and it killed honestly. एक point के started feeling थोड़ा pathetic कि dude तेरे पास नहीं है इसीलिए तू ये सब कह रहा है, जब तेरे पास 360 के टाइम पे था तू कुछ नहीं कहता था, और तूने Xbox One वाले लॉन्च में बोला भी था वी हैव अ कंसोल फॉर जिनको नहीं खरीदना साला 360 लो. तो व्हेन दे वर विनिंग दे वर नॉट बीइंग हम्बल, सेम व्हिच लाइक Sony is doing, right? They're winning, they're not being humble. So I want to see Microsoft saying कि hey like Starfield comes, at least it's a 1 year timed exclusive on the Xbox, and just I mean I'm pretty sure it'll piss some people off But just to see that reaction, na, ki like, hey, okay, this is an exclusive after years that you'll care about on our platform. I just want to see how that works out.
Would you care about an exclusive that's called Starfield on the Xbox?
Yeah, I really would like, especially Fallout 4 actually.
New IP
Uh, uh,
coming from a studio which is famous for its bug.
yeah, actually, despite the bugs, na, like Skyrim and Oblivion and even Morrowind, I played not a lot, but Oblivion, so I played a lot. Oblivion, Skyrim. I really enjoy those games, even though I do not think they are like eight से ऊपर तो है ही नहीं दोनों games, but both those games like have a thread that keeps you going somehow. Even though Skyrim का thread थोड़ा weaker था than Oblivion, but it still kept me going, like वो fantasy world में. Fallout, I think especially Fallout 3, New Vegas वगैरह are very powerful. I mean New Vegas तो उन्हें खुद ही पहले मिल गया था with Obsidian, but Fallout उसमें 3 is also I know कि everybody says कि New Vegas उतना अच्छा नहीं है, but जितना अच्छा नहीं है 3, but 3 is actually very good, dude. Like 3 का exploration and that sense of isolation वगैरह ना बहुत कम गेम्स में मिलता है वैसा, लाइक आइसोलेशन इन दैट पोस्ट अपोकलिप्टिक सेटिंग वेयर यू नो वेयर यू आर, आई मीन रियल वर्ल्ड सेटिंग. इट्स नॉट लाइक अ डेथ स्ट्रैंडिंग वाला आइसोलेशन. You know, like you are actually isolatedly going through libraries, science museums, discovering stuff for yourself, stealing the Declaration of Independence. वैसे missions थे उसमें, like a lot of fun. And 4 भी मैं तो सोचता हूँ, like despite the problems, 4 का shooting they improved it so much to be shooting around like that in a world like that. मजा, it is fun. Like इसीलिए despite the flaws of Fallout 4 and even 76, like if that studio puts out a new game, I think they have a chance with Starfield. अगर Starfield भी कचड़ा हो गया तो मुश्किल होगा. But when they say it's something entirely new, they're saying कि it's a new engine, ground up, rebuild किया सब कुछ, तो pace में है. Like I think any Fallout या Skyrim fan wanted to see Bethesda try on like space open world RPG. Like what if Bethesda did Mass Effect type कुछ. So इसीलिए I think it would be kind of cool to see. Like I think वो exclusivity would matter to me a lot. Elder Scrolls 6 though definitely.
The thing that I'm most excited about in all of this is that it's not something coming out of Zenimax altogether, but something out of the Fallout universe. This is for the first time after so many years that there is a chance of Obsidian making like New Vegas 2 or like a sequel to that, or like a standalone game in the same universe. Because as you see, the Outer Worlds, right, contains a lot of themes from those kind of games.
Yeah.
And to see that, Bethesda is following in those footsteps and creating something, which is out in space and everything, it's a big deal that those big RPG companies are now, a product of Microsoft. And then you will see a similar thing happening is that some people, who have been like, connected to id Software, like, not connected to like who founded it, like the maker of Doom, right? John Carmack, So he talked about in a tweet that he was interested in what the future of ID held, right? So those things are important, that people who were, had gone away from those things, or people who had a tough time with dealing with Zenimax or anything, are now interested in coming back and taking up the helm. Also, to put things into perspective, Microsoft's acquisition of Zenimax 7.5, Xbox did not earn in the last 2 years even close to that. So to see the confidence that Microsoft has to pull out of its like $138 billion kitty of cash reserves, to say that I'm going to buy this for you, and then again after the buyout saying that is not the end. Sundar, they have been talking about that, and Microsoft said that there are more acquisitions in the horizon. So it's just an amazing time for everyone in Microsoft. For PlayStation, it might be a hard sell because to think about it, after those 2 timed exclusives, I don't see the next Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield coming and on the same day on the PlayStation. I don't think it'll be that. They'll obviously sell it because in the end, that's what that's what the market they're in. That they'll sell games, because when they are in the Game Pass, they'll sell it for $10. When they are in on the PlayStation side, they'll sell it for $70-$60. So they'll definitely sell it, but it's not going to come over there for at least a year, maybe. I mean, at least
Actually, I kind of disagree. I think what they can do is they can take that risk on Starfield, which is a new IP, and make it exclusive to the Xbox platform for like 6 months or maybe even permanently. I don't know. Just like throwing it out there. But I don't think they will take that risk with the Elder Scrolls Online or yeah, or Fallout for that matter.
Wait, Elder Scrolls Online or
So
6?
sorry, Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls, sorry.
Okay, new one.
But I don't believe they'll have another, like even 6. I think it will have something co-op multiplayer going on in there. I am like
Maybe.
very sure of that. But maybe like something rudimentary like Dark Souls. I don't know. But I don't think in this time and age there will be a game made by a company like Bethesda, which would not have an online factor into it, at least. But having said that, that's not the point. My point is like the next Elder Scroll franchise game, right? It's very difficult to make it just one platform exclusive or just one service exclusive. I think when you have that kind of a game, you want to get as many sales as you want, and you want it to be coming out on all platforms, right? And that's why I think Microsoft has said this, like has made this clear that they want to do it on a game by game basis, right? I can see maybe the next Prey, because the original Prey didn't do that well, and they want to like just expose it on the Xbox platform and in a smaller factor, right? Made for the smaller platform or smaller DLCs, something like that, coming out only on the Xbox platform. But games like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, I don't think that they're going to like. At least I personally don't feel that that will happen. We've seen franchises like Mass Effect come onto the PlayStation format. We've seen franchises like Final Fantasy come out on the Xbox format. So at the end of the day, the need to sell a game trumps, right, and the platform exclusivity, right. And as far as like being a hard sell to PlayStation goes, I think I'm on the side of Microsoft. Like they really made a big deal out of having Spider-Man, right? Like Sony made a big deal out of it. Like they had Marvel Spider-Man, which is a great game to play, and it's not fair to the rest of the world to not be able to play that game.
Yeah.
And then they have in Marvel Avengers, they have this Spider-Man DLC, which is exclusive to the PlayStation. So they're making a big deal out of it, right? And I think it will be very similar to how the Avengers beta and the COD beta goes right now. Like for example, you have they have PS PlayStation beta exclusives coming window, which is open for only PlayStation guys. So it'll excuse me. So it'll happen a lot for these games now. Like they will have a beta for the Elder Scrolls game, but it'll be exclusive to the Xbox player. But it will probably release at the same time as a PlayStation game, right? Uh, so leading into that, what do you guys think about like now since in Xbox Game Pass you have all these games which come out on day one, right? And now they have these big studios also. It's not like a small indie set of people where you want to release your games and give it to people. These are studios which produce big AAA games, right? Which take which have this huge budget, uh, you know, in millions, right? So do you think it's the right place for those kind of games to be released, like the Game Pass platform where they're available day one? You know, for a game like maybe Rain Swept, which is made inside $1,000, it makes sense. It's released on the $15 platform, which is available to everyone, and a lot of people play it. And probably whatever share he gets for, he will get it. Probably he will refill the cost for it for in 6 months or 9 months, right? But for games like Elder Scrolls 6, it comes out, it has a $6 million budget. And does it make sense for it to come out on the Game Pass on day one without any extra costs related to that game? What do you guys think? Manas, you want to go first?
Yeah. I think they increase the price of Game Pass, right? Like in this month. Yeah, I think ending this month the price of the Game Pass goes up. तो एक तो मुझे लग रहा है Game Pass का
Mm-hmm.
price बढ़ जाएगा. Ooh, like with all these AAA titles, like एक तो Bethesda का जो like the entire studio उनका AAA in the coming future, Microsoft का all those AAA games that hopefully are coming, right? कुछ तो आने वाला है. like all of that मिला
What's
के
the AAA game? Halo Infinite. That is AA at best.
like Halo Infinite and then that other one, right?
That's 4A's.
Obsidian का Obsidian का भी जो नया
Obsidian ka about that's the only game that I'm actually really excited to play.
Yeah.
Like that looks like a proper old school RPG.
yeah.
Yeah, but like that's a very good example. That looks like a AAA game, right? So do
Even
you think
Crossfire
it's like
X,
worth it?
something like Crossfire
I don't know,
X. मतलब double A, like
but it looks good.
yeah, it looks good. Like जैसे I think Alan Wake
Hmm.
yeah would not count as something like Alan Wake. Even I would put it like double A triple A के बीच में कहीं तो I think I think it's Game Pass is a little too good to be true वाला situation है.
Mhm.
I
I mean, it works for individual games, like indie games, where the
Yeah.
budget is not more than 50,000. You can probably get that cost back. But in Game Pass, there is no pre-orders, right? There are no sales. There are no deluxe edition, exclusive editions. So how does like a game company make money when they're making like these big AAA games?
Oh, then I'm thinking like Netflix, right? Netflix has like thousands of shows, and a lot of them are like high budget shows, like very good quality shows also. बीच में like a lot of them get cancelled also second season में जैसे Altered Carbon.
That was
Altered
what I was
Carbon.
going to say. That's what I was going to say. That like they make these all budget shows, but they don't pull in the right. But like because it's such a huge platform of so many games, and in Netflix so many movies, right? You can put in a lot of budget and you can still get a niche audience for it, and then it might not be worth it. So yeah, sorry, go ahead,
नहीं
Manas.
भाई like and that's like something like Altered Carbon got cancelled and वो था शायद तो थोड़ा high budget था लेकिन I think something like Ozark which is amazing is getting like four and 5 seasons तो I think same way में अगर Netflix sustain कर पा रहा है तो at a similar cost especially if at these prices they are able to really penetrate the Indian market like यहाँ पे जो audience है if they really get into it eventually I think Microsoft is looking at like a 5-year thing where like now people have easy access to 5G India maybe hopefully and people piracy और मुश्किल या फिर it's more of a hassle than जैसे अभी Netflix इतना इसलिए चल रहा है क्योंकि torrenting is more of a hassle. So hopefully the same happens with Game Pass also कि Game Pass becomes like such a convenient alternative. APK ढूंढने के जगह phone पे you can just stream कर लो game and play it. So if that becomes a reality then I think Microsoft is sorted with Game Pass. But right now that is not a reality and Game Pass is too good to be true वाला value दे रहा है.
Personally,
I'll just add to that. So
yeah.
Netflix has just ran into losses. It's Netflix has not given out a positive revenue output for years since its inception.
Oh yeah, I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
not.
Okay.
So its evaluation is
Yeah.
high. Its evaluation is high, but it's not turned out a profit ever.
Okay.
Right? Ever since it got online. So it loses. It is actually bleeding money every year. Right? So it is running on a loss basically. So
Okay.
so having said that, so I'll let Sushir come back to this and get his thoughts on it. Like, what do you think? Is it like the death of AAA games now with the Xbox Game
No,
Pass?
I don't agree with that. I think Microsoft is looking into the future, and I'll just quote some examples over there. So the biggest gaming acquisition happened back in like 2016, right? When Tencent acquired like the Finnish company, Supercell, the guys who make Clash of Clans and those games, and that was like about like $9-10 billion. So that is like in the gaming industry, that is the biggest acquisition. So gaming is going to be a big thing moving forward, and there are going to be lots of people playing games. Until now, video games, especially the AAA, AA indie market, has been largely relegated to the PC, the consoles, where a person needs to buy an expensive hardware in order to play those games. But in the near future, this is not going to be a barrier anymore. People with the xCloud system, which is supposedly better than Stadia and everything, right? And also, just try and remember that with all the games that Microsoft got through Bethesda and Zenimax, they also acquired the rights to Orion. That's their streaming network, that the platform agnostic streaming network that Bethesda had talked about last year. So Microsoft is
tell me
definitely
about
going
like,
to.
what is that? What is Orion?
So Orion is supposed to be like a streaming platform, like where independent of hardware, you can just stream all kinds of Zenimax and Bethesda games on your system. Like it was supposed to be like the Xbox Game Pass for Bethesda.
Okay.
So that
So is it
technology,
running anywhere, Sushil?
no,
Like,
it's
was it
not
tested
currently
or?
running. No. It was an internal build. They talked about it last year, and now just understand that Microsoft owns that too.
तो was
And
it
if you
something
see,
जो
there,
बीच में these guys, the Oculus guys, कौन है जो Doom, who's that old school guy who was also working with, were they working
Carmack.
on this? Were they all
No,
working?
not no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
He
Sorry.
he
जॉन
went to
कार्मैक
Oculus
तो आती
until.
ही नहीं होगी उसको, तो स्ट्रीमिंग सर्विस के कोड ही नहीं आते होंगे जॉन कार्मैक को. Like I
Oh,
don't think.
please no. I have to close my
Yeah,
eyes.
that's just made on a different technology. Like अभी I don't think so. Like जॉन
He's
कार्मैक को
working
पता
on
होगा कि
VR
C++.
and stuff, man. He's a great programmer.
That's
I
gonna turn
can't
out really
accept that.
badly.
Oh my god.
Gonna turn out-
But yeah,
Ayush has some
getting back
beef.
to topic, getting back to the topic is it's mobile gaming is going to be a big deal in the future, and going to be an influx of mobile players into that Xbox Game Pass service, and mobile gamers who previously would like buy games for $1 or like maybe $5, or something like that, they are going to subscribe to that. They're not going to buy $60 games. They're not going to buy $70 games. They're going to go for the Game Pass service, and that influx and that audience will be captured by Microsoft and nobody else. So I think there's a big play, big thing at play over here.
Yeah.
That Microsoft is definitely thinking big. It's dreaming big, thinking about the future. Like what Ayush might sometimes say, oh, subscription based service, go for Microsoft. If you want to play real single players or something like that, go for Sony and stuff.
But
But
that's
to
what
think about it,
we're
like,
saying the same thing.
yeah, but to think about it, like, see this too, right? That Sony, the biggest two games that came out from Sony this year, right? They're both getting multiplayer modes, like things which are completely single player, like the Ghost of Tsushima, that's going to get a multiplayer mode. Then Last of Us, there's going to be Last of Us Part 2 Factions, right? The multiplayer mode. So Sony's, I think this generation Sony is one step behind, and again with the budget and everything, I don't think they can compare and work it out with Microsoft. It's a race that they cannot win for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we're saying the same thing, and I like my question is like with this the rise of video gaming and mobile gaming industry, the streaming service coming in, and the people not wanting to pay $60 for a game. That doesn't mean that it's the end of AAA games, right? Like there is no way like a $1 million budgeting game is going to survive in this industry with when it's want to, or it has microtransaction, which is a big minus PR for those games, right? So, like we're saying the same thing. I'm just saying it in a very
Yeah, but even if we
headline
are saying
catchy
the
way.
same thing, we are differing in the fact, like, think for example, like the ESO, the subscription, right? Or even like Fallout 76 having Fallout first. I'm hands down, I'm sure that once they come to the Microsoft platform, they'll not have that subscription thing anymore. There will be microtransactions, but there'll be no like annual subscription for ESO, or there'll not be any Fallout first for Fallout 76 anymore. It's going to be a game. It's going to have microtransactions and stuff, but those things are going to get removed.
But what say about Hogwarts Legacy? That's a single player RPG coming out, open world RPG coming out. Does it make sense for that game to come out on Game Pass day one? That's my question. Not about Fallout 76 and not about ESO and not about Infinite. A game that is made for a single player experience, which has a $1 million budget. Does it make sense for it to come out on Xbox Game Pass? That is my question, basically.
Personally, I think it'll just make the development schedules and everything much more competitive and much more like streamlined. There's going to be a lot more crunch that we are going to hear about in the future upcoming days. The crunch is happening, and or this project was not launched because of that. And but I still think that there is a place for single player games on the Xbox Game Pass, and especially with a spate of single player games right now available on the Xbox Game Pass is a big
but the most of that library is retro, like it's a retro library. No, not when I say retro, I mean like a retroactive library, right? For example, games that have released for a long time. For example, when the drill actually goes through, you will have Doom 2016, the new Doom, and the older Dooms to play, and you will have Skyrim hopefully, like in the ideal scenario, whether Skyrim, Morrowind, and all the older Skyrims to play. But those are not games. Those games have come, they're gone, they've had their time. So even adding them, sure, that platform gives them legs, but they are not adding to the profit of
Hello.
those games per se. It's just a
Yeah.
retroactive step to get that license.
So Ayush, your
So
question was कि will AAA games die out with all these subscription models? वैसे, yeah, now that you say it, like imagine the same with TV shows, right? Like Netflix पे you won't get to see a show like Game of Thrones, like massive
mhm,
production values running for like
8 seasons.
years. तो
But like
yeah,
Stranger Things is there, right?
नहीं, I agree, लेकिन but Stranger Things का I don't think production value, like imagine there is Game of Thrones में भी था, but there is so much filler in Stranger Things now. Like season 1 was very tight, but 2 and 3 तक आते आते you see कि बीच में कितना time pass होता है, and those special effects are like end of the season, start of the season. So I can imagine the same app, like okay, मेरा immediate thought था अगर गेम पास पे सब कुछ होने लग गया तो विल यू एवर गेट टू सी अ नंबर लाइक रेड डेड रिडेम्पशन वाज मेड फॉर दिस मच अमाउंट एंड इट रिकवर्ड लाइक थ्राइस दैट अमाउंट इन लाइक द वीकेंड. वैसे नंबर सुनने को मिलेंगे ही नहीं, मुझे लग रहा है ना, लाइक यू वोंट गेट टू
And
सी.
it was made over 8 years. So,
या
like, would you see that? Art,
या
it took a game 8 years to develop.
आई थिंक
That's
उसमें
not.
उसमें मे बी सोनी विल हैव टू लाइक रियली या तो डबल डाउन ऑन इट कि लाइक हे लुक एट आवर ट्रिपल ए स्टफ, इट इज लाइक सिंगल प्लेयर स्टफ इज रियली ऑसम. बट आई थिंक दिस वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम इन ईयर्स जब मुझे लगा ओके माइक्रोसॉफ्ट हैज लाइक अ सॉलिड चांस ऑफ kicking ass here, like with if this is the money they can put out, then तो they can do anything, dude. Like ऐसा नहीं कि उनसे Last of Us 2 बनाया नहीं जाएगा. Like with enough money and the right people working on it, like yeah, they can bring out something amazing. Yeah, actually you have a very valid point with this question. AAA games का क्या होगा?
Yeah, because like this is like what they're aiming toward, and I'm not throwing shade at Microsoft. I think I'm just like I agree with Manas that they've built with Bethesda acquisition. They've got a really good studio under their command now,
Yeah.
and at least IPs, not even the studios. Now I can also imagine, like, so she said that Obsidian can work on Fallout again. They're working on about now, so I don't think they'll work on that game for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But yes, in the future it can happen, and they can also, being under the same wing, they can also have people from 343 moving to Doom, to ID, to improve or learn new shooting mechanics, FPS. So both of the games are getting better in that process. Like
Right.
what happens at Sony Studios, people from Sucker
Yeah.
Punch, they go to Santa Monica and vice versa to just learn from each other. So that's going to be there as well, right? So that's going to be, there's going to be a definite improvement in that regard. But what I see is like, what I also think is like the future, like so she said, is streaming and mobile gaming. So to facilitate that, to make that easier, games like Spellbreak, uh, you know, and the lower graphical quality of Halo Infinite make it easier for them to be streamable, to be streamed on these platforms, and so that is why you don't want to put in money on the graphics side. You want them to be polygonal fixed, so that even if it like blows up a bit, it's okay, it doesn't blow up that much, so you're not worried about like the bush being in the right place and you shooting a
Yeah.
sandbox and it like taking sand out, because you're more worried about the performance. You're more worried about whether the headshot will get registered or not,
Yeah.
so and as we go along, that infra will settle itself. Like that infra will become better, it will become stable, it will become easier to use, you know so that's why I think this is going to be the trend going forward. I'm not necessarily all for it, because obviously I'm not a good player, but I don't think there's anything bad with it too. This is the technological day that we live in, that we have 4G, soon to have 5G, and we can stream games on our mobile phones. So that's all. That's good with me. But like, so that is my opinion of it. So the third aspect of this acquisition is, like, Sony has been acquiring studios for a while now, and they have this new lineup called PlayStation Studios, right? And and now Microsoft has this, and they have Obsidian, and they have Remedy, and they have Rare Studios as well, right? So, do you think in the future Ubisoft, and EA and Activision also taking sides, and like just like we have the Disney versus Warner Brothers in the entertainment market, it will become Sony versus PlayStation, and maybe in a smaller sense, Nintendo. As a third player. What do you guys think? Sushir, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first on that. So regarding the Sony studios, right, and coming to the Microsoft ones, like Microsoft now has 23 studios on its plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So personally, I think I'll reiterate the thing that I said before. Microsoft is not fighting on the same platform as Sony. They are there with a bigger budget. They are targeting a different kind of audience. It's just the market and everything is different. So I don't think it's a war per se regarding that. And to talk about the fact that that Microsoft is going to edge forward in this whole scenario. I think the main reason is that uh, that Sony's lineup going forward, is I feel it's very limited considering what they have shown. And Microsoft is going to come up with a bigger lineup, bigger number of games, multiplayer, single player. It's a big gamut of games that they're going to come up with. So in that respect, I think Microsoft is not playing on the same field. And Nintendo, of course, they have a different market altogether, smaller handheld market. So I personally think there's space for everybody. That's my opinion about it. There's space for everybody over here.
What about you, Manas? Do you think we'll have two giants, or this will still be like a playing open marketplace?
मतलब अगर ऐसा ही चलता रहा तो आई कैन सी लाइक टू साइड्स वाला सिचुएशन ना, बिकॉज आई कैन ऑनेस्टली बोलूँ तो आई कैन सी साइबरपंक लाइक CD Projekt Red गोइंग विथ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट लाइक इन अ फ्यू ईयर्स, क्योंकि दे हैव बिन विथ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट फॉर अ वाइल. लाइक उनका विचर 2 भी Xbox पे पहले आया था. आई थिंक वो PS3 पे तो आया नहीं था. विचर 2 ओनली केम टू 360 एंड PC. And even with Cyberpunk also they did a lot of stuff. Keanu Reeves was on so Sony ka is sorry Microsoft ka Xbox ka stage, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see them going that way with Microsoft. I can see EA going with Microsoft. I see maybe Activision going with PlayStation only because unka previous record has been ki a lot of Call of Duty stuff has been PlayStation first. लेकिन if Microsoft decides to throw money out, क्योंकि the thing with Microsoft is कि Xbox is their least earning, it's not their most profitable thing. Sony का है कि PlayStation is their most profitable thing. Like उनका सारा पैसा already जा रहा है in building PlayStation. All these like उसने Jim Ryan जो PlayStation का head है उसने बोला कि subscription model like Game Pass doesn't make sense for us because we put over $100 million in a game. तो वो ऐसे नहीं सेंस बनाता. तो आई मीन taking that keeping that in mind, yeah, it what he's saying is ki if you have games on Game Pass, they won't be $100 million games. They won't be, like you said, 8-year time bana ke nahi banega. Even if Obsidian is making a new like Elder Scrolls jaisa game in Avowed, it won't be a 8-year long made game. A game made with that much detail na in the world. Open world mein itna detail hai, random things happening, like utna in depth nahi hoga. Which I think, yeah, it is a bummer to think of that. And आई कैन सी दो साइड्स होते हुए. निंटेंडो का तो मुझे लग रहा है आई थिंक निंटेंडो का कोई साइड लेने नहीं जाएगा अदर देन मे बी यूबीसॉफ्ट विथ लाइक मे बी बीच में मारियो रैबिट्स या कुछ. बट निंटेंडो विल हैव टू लाइक बी देयर ओन साइड. उनका अपना फर्स्ट पार्टी विल बी देयर साइड. बट विथ सोनी एंड माइक्रोसॉफ्ट आई सी other developers and publishers going with either of them.
Two things that I would like to add to that. I mean, if people are not aware, EA Play is already bundled with Microsoft Ultimate, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So people can play games like FIFA, Battlefield, and Titanfall. All those Mass Effect games. Everything you can play on the Xbox Game Pass. And so definitely there's a so whatever we have seen before is that Microsoft with these has maintained a very pleasant relationship with these third-party developers. It has maintained with like Bethesda, which happened in the acquisition. We could see that Todd Howard talking about it in his blog post, that how they had like a very deep relationship with Microsoft right from the start. CDPR has a deep relationship, and of course EA, and then of course. But what I feel is that Sony is now suffering from very mixed messaging. I mean, I can point out some examples. Is that first thing they said that we cannot do a service like thing, and then they come up with the PlayStation Plus service, which has like The Last of Us, God of War, and those kind of games, Uncharted, in the service. If you subscribe for the PlayStation Plus, you get those games. and then it said that we believe in generations, right? And then now we are coming to know that even games like the Horizon Forbidden West, that will be coming out for the PS4. Then Miles Morales, it will be coming out for the PS4. So I feel that the messaging is very mixed for Sony, and I'm not being able to depend on what they are saying right now. Like I'm just not comfortable, and especially in India where they have not even declared the price, which is a travesty. Like, I mean, you know, it's a market. It might be a small market, but treat it as a market. Uh, Display the prices. Bring in some goods. I mean, don't do this. Don't do the thing. People there are
Do
loyal
you do you
PlayStation
have the same complaints
fans
with
here.
Nintendo? Like that is
Well, I don't have a Nintendo. Manas has, so
exactly
he can
like
talk about
so.
it.
I think सुशीर का point थोड़ा valid है in a way कि Nintendo का वो popularity है ही नहीं यहाँ पे. Like people are crazy for the gamers that there are, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है, but they
Right.
love the PlayStation. They don't love the
Mhm,
Xbox. So Xbox is giving them the fan service while Sony
mhm,
Yeah.
isn't. And it's Sony का, I get it. छोटा audience है and I get it, like you have other headaches to manage. But वो छोटे audience को भी you're disregarding it in kind of a mean way ऐसा feel. Like literally no communication. है ना, लाइक यहाँ
mhm.
पे Xbox कह रहा है कि हमारे प्री ऑर्डर कल लाइव जा रहा है, दीज आर द प्राइसेस. सोनी कह रहा है चेकआउट, दिस इज व्हाट्स न्यू इन वॉरजोन. इस व्हाट सोनी के फेसबुक पेज पे, इट्स सोनी इंडिया के. आई एम लाइक व्हाट द फक, लाइक कुछ तो बोल, मतलब हे stay tuned for prices, at least show some respect to people asking so many questions.
Mhm. No, I get both of your points, and I get the part about messaging also. But one of the reasons that this website was made, the Gameffine was made originally, was because no company did a good job of communicating the messages to the Indian subcontinent. Like
Yeah,
it was always a smaller market for us, and and people tend to ignore it, right? And like Manas really put in very gracefully at the start of this conversation is like Microsoft is being humble. They want as much pie as they can get in different places,
oh yeah,
right? So they're losing out on the US market. So they're like, okay, let's try to capture whatever is there of the Indian market, you know. And Sony is like, we're going to trickle down to the Indian, and I'm not defending Sony at all. I am okay with what you guys are saying. I am 100% in agreement with that. Having said all of that, I think it's a good thing that Forbidden West is coming to the PS4. Miles Morales is coming to the PS4, and it's also a great thing that all of these PlayStation Plus games is making their way to the PS5. So we have been talking about all these consumer-friendly things that Microsoft is doing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So these are also consumer-friendly steps that PlayStation has taken to, placate or make their fans happy. So those are also they might be contradictory with their vision, but they are consumer friendly at the
But
end of the day,
but I
right?
kind of get the feeling कि ना PlayStation के ये जो this that they giving right now थोड़े ना मतलब दिल पे पत्थर रख के है. I mean Microsoft भी होगा but at least they are
Dude,
smiling
it's
harder.
like, see, the thing is like the PlayStation Plus collection that's on the PS5. There is no game on that list that I've not played.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I
वो
understand.
भी है, वो that's
Yeah,
also there.
like see, I've like that list would not have been there. That would not have made any difference to me. Like I've already played those games basically at this point of time. So but I get the idea, like why they are pushing it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
on day one, even if like you're not able to get a copy of, let's say, Miles Morales or something, it's sold out or whatever, not, you can download those games and start playing maybe God of War and PlayStation 5. Just start of that and like hype up for the next God of War or whatever you want to do. So in that case, I think those are also the decisions. But you're right, the messaging from PlayStation has been, not been the greatest, right? So with all of that in sense, let's not talk about the games we are going to play. Let's talk about the games that we are playing, right?
Yep.
Specifically Mafia Definitive Edition.
Oh
Manas,
yeah.
you've got some hands on it. Hands
Yes.
on it. What do you think?
Finally got some time to play Mafia Definitive Edition. I think I'm almost at the end of it. आज रात में I'll be done with it and hopefully review soon. Um,
Mhm.
I like it. I'm surprised how much I like it. क्योंकि I remember जब मैंने माफिया उस टाइम पे पीसी पे खेला था when it launched. And I remember even at the time when I had played it, थोड़ा dated feel हो रहा था वो game. And even now, I think it looks very pretty. I'm playing on the PS4, and I really want to play it on PC because it looks very pretty. Like in PS4, pe you can notice like a lot of aliasing. बहुत सारे blurry edges, and then whenever you move your character also, तो उसके around एक अजीब सा shimmer बन के आता है. I don't know what it's called, but there's a shimmer when you move a character, you can see उसका जो outline है थोड़ा सा flicker होके then move हुआ with it. तो वैसे सारे बहुत issues है. And basically so you're a cab driver who stumbles up into like some mafia dudes and then like becomes one of them, and then uska story hai pura. It is an open world game that is very linear, like very linear, uh, but not linear in a way जो जैसे GTA का linearity ना felt more frustrating because GTA made it look like you had more options with the weapons and the tools and all, but you could do one thing only. हर mission में like even if you had like 10 alleyways going around, yeah, Red Dead में you could not like climb up to a rooftop and then start sniping. You had to like follow Dutch because he had a plan. लेकिन क्या बोलते हैं लेकिन Mafia does not have like Mafia का even if it's a open world game, it has वो ऐसा put ही नहीं करता है कि you have options. So whenever I was doing like मेरा mind ऐसा चला ही नहीं कि oh shit let me climb up that thing. Yeah, even if I could climb up some things. उस arena में I could do whatever the fuck I wanted to. But it is so linear in a way कि I started noticing this like around like the 7th or 8th mission कि not a single mission has started where I am walking out of like जो mafia hideout वाला area है, I'm walking out of it into the city. ऐसा हुआ ही नहीं. Like every time I'm starting off in a car, the car takes me to the mission area में I fight, then I get back into the car, come back to the like literally I think I'm at the end of the game almost now. Maybe there is some open world stuff जो इसके बाद open up होगा, but the entire story never gives you a reason to explore the city. Never, not once है कि city explore कर. तो now what I'm doing is जब भी मिशन शुरू होके, so usually you would start a mission and you would be in a car with somebody else and then तुम्हें जाना ही पड़ता था मिशन पे, like the marker would already be there and you had to go. Now what I do is कि जैसे ही मिशन चालू होता है I have to pick somebody up ना, तो then I don't go pick them up. Now I explore the city, do everything, I go to all the कुछ करने के लिए है नहीं, but the city is so pretty dude. It is so damn pretty, that place, like the smoke coming out of those क्या बोलते हैं वो जो गटर के ढक्कन होते हैं, like whatever they called, sewer, yeah those lids, उसके वहाँ से स्मोक निकल के आ रहा है, एंड देन वाटर के रिफ्लेक्शंस, लाइक आई नो कि PS4 पे इट इज़ वेरी लिमिटेड, बट डैम दोस रिफ्लेक्शंस वाटर के ऊपर, गाड़ी के ऊपर भी रिफ्लेक्शंस आते हैं व्हेन इट्स रेनिंग, वेरी प्रिटी व्हेन इट्स रेनिंग एंड यू ड्राइविंग. तो आई स्पेंड सम टाइम डूइंग दैट बिकॉज गेम का ही मौका ही नहीं दे रहा था मुझे टू लुक एट ऑल ऑफ दिस. तो आई डिड दैट, बट आई थिंक even sorry, you going to ask something?
I was going to ask, like, what is the do you have a 4K TV and what PlayStation do you have?
I have a base PS. I have a base PS4.
Not the slim, but the base PS4. Okay.
Base.
And 4K TV or what?
4K TV है.
Okay. So is it outputting 4K? I'm sure it's not outputting 4K
1080.
on the PS4, right? 1080. Okay.
But this game is not ugly at all. Like it is very pretty. It is, in fact, it is like, I mean, if you look at the aliasing and जो अजीब से characters के around जो ये सारे issues है, I mean, in any other game, this would be outright ugly. But the game is so pretty that you can manage with this. Like, whenever you're driving, you can notice all the वो जो पुराने buildings में fire escape type वो नहीं सीढ़ियाँ नहीं होती थी, तो वो सारे they face the streets. So whenever you're driving, वो सारा you shimmer हो रहा है because aliasing can't handle it. तो इतने गंदी तरह shimmer हो रहा है, but even despite that, it looks very pretty. The city का वो, I cannot believe कि वो गेम इतना पुराना, इट लुक्स दैट गुड. तो एंड ऑल्सो आई काइंड ऑफ लाइक द लिनियरिटी बिकॉज एटलीस्ट आई कैन फिनिश इट इन टाइम, एक है ना. एंड फालतू का ओपन वर्ल्ड नहीं है. इट इज नॉट कि ना जाके तुम अब 50 ढक्कन कलेक्ट करो फॉर सम रीजन, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. आई एंड द स्टोरी इज वेरी कंपेलिंग. आई एम थ्रू एंड थ्रू, आई डोंट थिंक कि नॉन क्लीशे है स्टोरी, बट द वॉइस एक्टिंग, द म्यूजिक एंड द थोड़े सिनेमैटिक एस्पिरेशंस ऑफ द गेम, they really deliver. Like, और story telling में ना like मजा आता है देखने में. Which actually, there was one time when I did not start off in a car. That was because where I had started off, उसके just बगल में किसी का घर था, तो मुझे literally I had to take 10 steps and drop them there. तो बस that was like the one mission I remember. Oh shit. And I remember actually, oh shit, मैंने नोट में लिखा, like I was keeping notes as I was playing ना, मैं notes में लिखा था shit यार, like it's been like 4 missions and no walking at all. Fifth mission is walking. Exciting. Okay, things maybe I was wrong. Then I saw, अबे साला एक alleyway में घुसा, उसको घर पे ड्रॉप किया, मिशन खत्म. But still, I think this game, I to put a value proposition on it, you should get it on sale for maybe 1,000 rupees. उससे ज़्यादा महंगा नहीं होना चाहिए. PC हो या PS4 हो. because that is the amount of content you'll get, and that is the amount of things you'll be able to do. Even if game is like massive, you can't do much with it. तो उसका क्या मैं क्या करूँ कि तुमने बनाया तो assets महंगे थे. Like वो game 1000 रुपए का ही 1000 and under का worth it है. But I think I definitely think it's a good game. I'm surprised how good it is, honestly.
To ask you a few questions is that how long is the game?
I think
what did you think?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
What did you think about the driving? Because that was
Okay.
a little, a very controversial thing back in the Mafia 1 thing. And what did you think about, like, if you have played Mafia 1, like the original one, are there certain things which have changed in this game? Like certain situations or certain characters. Is that a thing?
यार मैंने माफिया 1 इतने पहले खेला था. आई डोंट रिमेंबर अ लॉट ऑफ इट, बट आई रिमेंबर उस टाइम में लाइक इट स्टार्टेड ऑफ विद अ टैक्सी वाला मिशन, यू आर हैविंग टू एस्केप द कॉप्स. तो इट फॉलोज थ्रू ऑल ऑफ दैट. वो सारा सेम है. आई थिंक द ड्राइविंग इज प्रीटी गुड एक्चुअली, स्पेशली गिवन कि ये व्हीकल्स वर उस टाइम के लाइक व्हाट 80s 1983 राइट, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, और 1838 और समथिंग. प्रोहिबिशन एरा है, तो आई डोंट रिमेंबर द एग्जैक्ट. बट उस टाइम के कार्स के हिसाब से दे हैंडल प्रीटी वेल. लाइक I mean, अगर GTA उस टाइम पे सेट होता तो I can imagine this is how GTA would have handled. So it handles as well. Character animations में I would say doesn't handle as well as a GTA or a Red Dead because उतने animations नहीं है इनके पास. तो when you stumble off, तो वो stumble वगैरह बड़ा stiff है. Like it feels कि थोड़ा off है, but I think rest of the shooting and all it's fine. Honestly, it's fairly fine. I think PC पे काफ़ी better feel होता, console पे ठीक है. It's the same thing. You put a speed limiter on when you're driving 40 miles per hour का limiter डाल दो तो cops won't chase you. Cop chases are not that tough. और ज़्यादा chases है भी नहीं. A lot of the chases are cinematic because it's part of a mission. It's a good game, man. Like it holds up. मैं बोलूँगा even if the gameplay design is old school, but जो individual mechanics है, shooting, taking cover भी इतना कुछ खास नहीं है, but none of it feels outdated. Other than the fact कि in an open world game you're not doing any open world things.
So people had a lot of complaints for Mafia 3, right? I mean, I don't know if you have played it, but do you think Mafia 1, stumbles on those same problems?
नहीं, अरे वो one of the main things was कि story शुरू में there was like a banger of an intro Mafia 3 में, and then everything was boring from there on. Very repetitive. इसमें कुछ है ही नहीं repeat करने के लिए. Like all the like it's just a main story. Like it's a 9-hour long. It's a single player game. Imagine करो you playing a Call of Duty campaign. Right. That is what this game का main campaign is, and I think for that it's a lot of fun. Like वो भी worth it. I'm having a lot of fun playing.
I think like what Amanda said, right? Like in बेकार का open world नहीं है that you have to go and collect 50 things. So that is what was happening in Mafia 3. Like the characters, the voice acting, the world was brilliant, and the story was also interesting. But at the one point where it says, okay, now capture this area by doing these 50 missions.
Yeah.
Every Ubisoft game ever.
Yeah, exactly. So and then I was like, okay, I can't do it any further. I wanted to explore the story in Mafia 3. Like I liked it, but the time it says, okay, now this map is divided into 5 areas. Everyone has one boss. To beat this boss, you have to do these 5 kinds of different missions repeatedly.
Yeah.
Right.
And then make progress. And then maybe in the middle, if we want, we'll throw in some cutscenes. So I was not down with that, So, but yes, it's great that you're liking it, man. What are you doing, Sushir? What are you playing?
I have been getting really less time to play video games this week. I got very less time, but I have been playing Atomicrops, which has been like a really terrible thing for me because I am not a big fan of bullet hell, and I like roguelite, but this just takes it to another extreme. Nothing carries over, and it has been quite a difficult task for me to just reach the end of the game. It's difficult. Apart from that, I do spam in like a lot of CS:GO matches at late in the night. So that has been like one of those obsessions for quite some time. So, Counter-Strike is one of those big things that I play from time to time.
That's nice, man.
Ayush, what have you been playing?
What about you?
Shit, man. I've been playing. I don't want to like. Shit. I've been playing WWE Battlegrounds.
And
damn! Bad.
Is it bad?
Really, really. Oh man.
Yeah.
We
were telling him not to buy it.
Yeah, and I wanted to get a review copy, which I did not get. Okay, but then I thought I will buy it because I am a WWE fan. I've been buying WWE games for since ever, since Here Comes the Pain. So I bought it, and that game is so bad. Like it's not bad in the way that it doesn't play bad. Like but it's a mobile game ported to consoles. Like that's the best way I can put it. It's like a proper. You just need to bash buttons. There's so many microtransactions. Like it's not good, man. Like it's not the game that you want to be coming out from an yearly franchise perspective. Like every year, if I'm waiting for WWE game, that's not it.
But have
That's
you
probably
did you try NBA Playgrounds या ऐसा कुछ थोड़ा arcade-ish ऐसा over the top?
I tried. I played WWE All Stars back when it all released. So
Okay.
that was also a brawler arcade-ish type.
Okay.
And I played FIFA Street and all that stuff. So I like the arcade feel is okay. I am okay with that.
Okay. अच्छा
But
gameplay इसका
see,
वैसे सही है because I also played it
uh,
and didn't hate it.
yeah,
ऐसा.
it's not the gameplay is not that bad.
Okay.
I would say like for its limited perspective, it's not bad. Okay. But when you buy a wrestling game, what are you buying it for? You're buying it for like the likeness of the superstars, one, then the close to realism that they can get given that kind of environment. So you buy it for the stages that you're going to see, the characters that you're going to come in, like their entrance and like how the musics, their signature moves and all that stuff, right? So, and that all of that is missing in this. Like there is a set of moves that is generic and can be used by all of the players, right? The other part of a big wrestling game is like the creation suit. You can create superstars. You can give them the looks that you want. You can give them the moves that they want. But it's all limited here. Like even you cannot even create more than 5 characters, and you will have to buy a new slot to create a new character. And similarly, if you want to buy new moves, signature moves for your character, you will have to spend money on that as well, like internal money which you earn through. So all of this makes you feel that you're playing a mobile game, like Clash of Clans or like I want to come up with a big good example, which is like a brawler type. Like there was a WWE Immortal game which is similar to Mortal Kombat that came out like for around 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So and there you just like play matches. You tap 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 tap. You win, get some points, make enough points, buy a new character and all that stuff, then upgrade him. It's the same thing here, and it doesn't like there is no effort to even hide it. Like it's just in your face. It's not even saying that it's a console. It's a proper uh, mobile game ported to console. Like that's the best way I can put it, and it's not a good way to think of it. If it was just a mobile game, maybe I would not have been so angry. But I'm really disappointed with this. It's really bad.
Yeah, even I played I played like a few matches of it,
Mhm.
and I got into it because मुझे like full on wrestling I cannot like really get into it क्योंकि I'm not into
Mhm.
wrestling. But I got
Mhm.
into it ये सोच के कि ना like I really enjoyed NBA Playgrounds
Mhm.
for that arcade-ish feel. But NBA Playgrounds में ना they were like a इसमें भी है वैसे काफी over the top moves, but maybe NBA
Mhm.
Playgrounds had a speed to it जो wrestling में anyways नहीं था. I think वही मेरा WWE से भी
That
problem
is
था. You know, it's
Yeah,
not
that
that
is one
fast.
part that is actually missing. That's very spot on. Matlab, if it's an arcade game, it has to be snappy.
Yeah.
It cannot be slow paced, and that is a big problem here. Like there is a sluggishness in movement.
Yeah.
There is a definite lag between the button press and what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
Like for example, running hits. When the player runs and you're able to hit someone else, like a clothesline or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
else. I'm not sure if you're so even that timing feels off. It had a better timing when we were playing WWE 2K20.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so that also puts me off. Like that's a good point actually, Manas. That's a gameplay related problem that I had with that game. So
Yeah.
good on you for picking that up.
मैंने मुझे भी वो सेम चीज के वजह से लगा कि यार लाइक ड्यूड आई शुड बी द वन टू एंजॉय दिस दिस इज नॉट फॉर रेसलिंग फैन दिस इज प्रॉब्ली फॉर मी थोड़ा आर्केडिश बट या द स्पीड ऑफ इट रियली पुट मी ऑफ एंड फिर मैंने अनइंस्टॉल कर दिया
अच्छा, you uninstalled it. You're playing it on PC?
पीसी पे आई थिंक PS4 पे भी है पीसी पे आई प्लेड ऑन पीसी दो
I don't know, man. I don't know how much I'm going to get out of it. Like how much fun I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to play it at least the story and the I don't know how much I'm going to play. I'll let you guys know. Like it's not a good feeling when you sit down to play and you have a new game where you have only spent 1 hour in, and then you're thinking maybe I should not play this and play something else.
वैसे to be
So it's not
honest,
a good
I'm
feeling.
surprised कि you will spend any more time on it. It's not worth it, dude. Like मुझे
Yeah,
खुद
I
ही
know, but
खुद ही feel हो रहा था.
I know. I at least want to get through the main story thread. Now that I've bought it, I've spent $40 on it.
हाँ
So
वो भी
yeah.
है.
So Sushir has a new section column for us, is it?
Yeah,
What
I,
is
I have
it?
a small surprise for you guys. So let me introduce a small thing. It's a thing where we take bets. Okay, and disclaimer over here to any watchdog watching. This is not about money. Okay, the audience, this is not about money. We are not exchanging money regarding this.
Okay.
So this is a segment where we take bets on what
Okay.
we think will happen in the future.
Okay.
So my question of for this segment is that we talked about Microsoft back in the podcast, and we know that Microsoft is going to acquire some new studios. So can you take a guess on what studio Microsoft might acquire next? For their expanding portfolio.
Are there any left?
I have a bet. I want to make a bet. Hey, इसमें कुछ पैसे तो नहीं lose करूँगा ना मैं?
No, definitely not. There is no money involved. Nothing here.
I would say
You're not Dream 11.
I would say Microsoft should buy BioWare and then corner the entire Western RPG market.
Dude,
Oh, damn.
that's already owned by EA, na? They would have to buy EA to buy.
I mean, अब तो पैसा तो फेंक ही रहे वो, तो why not EA?
Actually, the first thing that came to my mind was Visceral. Visceral Studios.
Visceral
Studios.
Yeah.
Like I would really love Microsoft to reinvent the Dead Space franchise and bring it up that like just imagine like a 2-hour session, 2-hour Dead Space small game, and full on single player horror. That would be great.
That'll be awesome. Yeah.
Dead Space 2 is still the pinnacle of horror gaming for me. I mean, I have not played much horror. I've seen horror games on YouTube.
For me, it's Dead Space.
Is,
it's the same thing, but Dead Space. Like I think like I think it's the perfect, like most horror games, depend upon making you feel helpless and like powerless.
Yeah.
Right.
But Dead Space puts the power in your hand. You can fight everything that you see, but it puts the scare in you because of the environment and the creation. It's very well made.
वैसे I think on a realistically, I think Witcher, CD Projekt.
Yeah, I think
CD Projekt
is a very good bet. I agree with Manas.
That will cost a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's
what
who
can they buy?
I personally think Microsoft will go for Sega. I mean, the Yakuza series, everything is already on the Xbox Game Pass, and they have quite a few, game franchises with them. And Microsoft has a good relationship with Sega. So I think it might be Sega. There have been rumors about it.
What about Konami?
Oh no.
Like
Konami
said
they might buy
Contra,
That's what
Metal Gear Solid, all that game, they can come to the new platform now. Maybe they get Konami and then they hire Kojima and then they have the new Metal Gear there. Imagine.
Konami, just as a heads up, they make video games, but they also make pachinko machines, like real life pachinko machines. So I don't think Microsoft should go anywhere near that business.
But I think Sega could be a good entry.
Buy IPs.
Sega could be a good way to get into the Japan wala market if Microsoft is struggling with that.
The Japanese market, yes.
Yeah, Sega or Capcom even. I don't know if Capcom is up for sale, but
and to think about it, that Microsoft was looking into buying WB games at the same point of time it was negotiating regarding Bethesda and Zenimax, right?
Yeah.
So can you imagine the amount of money that they have just to
there were two people and Phil was there and he was like, I have $8 million. You either need to get me WB games or you need to get me Bethesda. Whoever comes first gets this money, deal done. And then that's why the WB fell through, man. I'm sure that's what happened now. Now that I think of it, we were hearing rumors that WB is going to get on board, and then Bethesda is like, okay, I need that money.
What do you think is better?
Sure.
What is a better buy?
I'm not
Bethesda
sure if you guys watched that movie, that Ferrari versus Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The same thing happens in that movie, Bethesda got a photo taken with Microsoft got a photo taken with WB and then they used it to buy Bethesda. Sorry, man, I cut you off, man. Please.
No. So what do you think is would have been a better deal? Bethesda buying Zenimax or buying WB?
For the same amount of money?
Yeah, same amount of money.
No, I think Bethesda is a way bigger deal. I
है ना?
mean,
Even I
with all
think
the
so.
franchises that it brings.
I don't know, man. Like with WB, you get a lot of free IPs, like unexplored IPs. Like Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Batman, obviously, and then like this whole huge library of DC comics that you have
Yeah.
at your exposure. But yeah, but like yeah, just like on the value of money, like current value of money, I think Zenimax was the better option. It's
Yeah.
just like to get the because they have the experience, right? And they have such a
Yeah.
variety of studios creating variety of games. So I think
Already
that's
working
pretty
studios,
good.
right? Instead of Microsoft
Yeah.
having to
Yeah,
establish
and
studios with those IPs.
and I personally think on the financial side, like even buying WB games would not have given them free access to franchisees from the DC universe. They would still have to get the permission and get the to make
Yeah.
games based on the DC universe. So I think there will be much more money involved in that case.
Yeah.
Mhm. At one point of time, I think DC will have to decide that they have to relax the rights on Batman. I think there's no way around it. The way that they handle Batman, it's a topic for another conversation at a different point of time. But the way that they use Batman with kiddie gloves, that's kind of hurting the franchise. Uh, but to compete with Marvel, because like Marvel put out their best team out there, the Avengers team, they were licensing them for everything, right? And DC is like, apart from Batman, do anything that you want with other people. So it's not got the same kind of attention. But again, the different topic, different times. So with that, I think it's time to end this show, like the
Yep.
discussion part of this show. So and we're going to go ahead for 20 questions now.
Yes.
But thanks for listening in, guys. If you like what you hear, do give us a like, share, and subscribe. If you're joining us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, or Anchor, give us a 5-star rating. And if you want to get in touch with us, drop us an email. You want to ask us questions, you want to suggest the next 20 questions game, drop us an email on editor@gameffine.com. Or reach out to us on FB, Twitter, and Instagram, and search for Gameffine. That's it from all of us, and see you the next time.